Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com with an introduction to the Numark TT250 USB turntable. I'm making this video alongside the review and there's a link to the review below me. Okay, so the Numark TT250 is a budget direct drive turntable. It looks and feels very similar to a Technics turntable, but it's got some differences and clearly you're not going to get the same quality because you're paying a fraction of the price. But that said, it is certainly good for certain use cases which we're going to find out about. But first, let's take a closer look at the turntable itself. So obviously, immediately it looks like a Technics. Pretty much everything is where it is on a Technics turntable, from the target light to the strobe light to the start-stop, the 3345, the jukebox converter, the S-shaped tone arm with its counterbalance and its height adjustment, its anti-skate adjustment, and even if I just lift this tone arm up and move it out of the way, you've got your pitch control in the same place. The stuff that isn't Technics, some of it's good, some of it's bad. The weight isn't there from a Technics turntable. The torque of the motor isn't the same, so this motor is very easy to stop like this. You know, I can do it with my little finger. You can't do that on a Technics turntable. The motor is much more powerful. And just the overall build quality, the weight and so on, not up there. You're not paying that kind of money, so you wouldn't expect that. The only thing that we really thought needed to be improved on, and that it's easy to do, thankfully, by spending just a few pounds or dollars extra, is to replace the built-in tone arm, the built-in cartridge and needle here, because they are pretty low quality. Now, happily, one thing that isn't low quality is the pitch control. It's plus minus 10%, feels really good, and it is accurate. And they've also quite nicely put a pitch bend control in there as well, so you can speed up and slow down momentarily what's going on the deck without actually having to touch the vinyl, which is, everyone had their own way of touching vinyl to keep stuff in time, manual beat matching back in the day. That's a nice alternative. We had fun playing with that. And the good things that are different from a Technics, well, there's no earth cable around the back here. There's just a nice built-in USB cable, built-in RCA cable for plugging into your mixer. The hardwired mains cable is in there as well. And the USB, of course, is around the back for easy ripping. The power button up here is a different design thing compared to the kind of traditional turntable design. One thing it's worth noting about the power button actually is that one classic way of stopping music playing on a turntable is to just press the power button off rather than the start stop. You press start stop, it stops pretty much straight away. But if you press the power button, it will stop momentarily, and that gives you a really nice sound when you are ending a night. Unfortunately, because the output at the back of this is line level, so there's an amplifier in here that needs power in order to work. When you press that button to off, it cuts the power, so you can't do that little trick. It's a small thing, but one thing that some DJs who've done that in the past might notice is different about this. So if you want to use this for ripping vinyl, just buy one of them and use it for ripping vinyl, maybe buying another one later on and then getting into DJing. Great choice. They're going to work really well. That USB socket is good. They sound good. If you want to use them at home for basic DJing, whether you're using your old vinyl collection or collecting vinyl now, or even using Serato or Traktor, whatever, time code, and using it with your software. Again, they're great, they do the job, they feel pretty good, they're pretty close to the original, the Technics turntable that everyone bases their turntables on. They'll do the job, you know, you'll enjoy them, you get a lot of pleasure from them, they'll work really well. Again, if you want to do basic scratching, they're going to be okay. For anything to do with DJing, we do recommend changing that cartridge and needle. They're just very cheap ones that they put on there, and you can do a lot better than that for not spending an awful lot extra. That'll make a big difference to your DJing. The case where they're not recommended is for playing out in clubs or for advanced scratching. They haven't got the torque in the motor for advanced scratching, and they're built to a budget, and they're not going to perform as well in clubs where there's a lot of vibration. It's quite a harsh environment. For both those use cases, you're better off going for something more expensive. But of course, this end of the market, a lot of people can't justify spending any more. You're going to get an awful lot of pleasure for consumer use out of a pair of turntables like this. It's the Numark TT250 USBs. I'm Phil Morse for Digital DJ Tips, and as I said at the beginning, there's a full review. You can get to that from the link below me. You can also subscribe to Digital DJ Tips and join with all the links down there, so please do that if you found this useful. I'll see you again soon.